me ask you a question.
What's good, Nyaka?
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy the Smasher here today with my new video, essentially debunking Grimm's video on NBA, excuse me. That video that was guaranteed to just completely destroy NBA's reputation, his online image, his status as the leader and of the League of Darkness, his status as Lord Cancer. So I was pretty interested. I was pretty intrigued, even though I've heard this about this before, but I never gotten the chance to really make a response video to this. So we're gonna get into this, guys. The dude's channel is called Grim the Debunking, and his video being called essentially NBA Exposed. And yeah, let's get into this shit, guys. And if y'all love my videos, man, make sure to smash them buttons and let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this shit, your overall take on the situation. So 1, 2, 3, and on to OBS. What's going on, guys? And it is a Smasher again, back to our OBS setting. It's been a while since I've used OBS, man. It's a pretty invigorating feeling, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, today, like I said before in my intro, we are going to debunk Mr. Grim the Debunking, who claims to have a video that is capable of destroying NBA's reputation entirely. So this is going to be pretty interesting. So let's get into this video and 1, 2, 3. I gotta give him this. His intro's aight, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't as badass as my intro, bro. Like, I made my intro without even trying. This nigga got his shit, like, you can tell he kind of thought this shit out, but it didn't come out right. Anyway, forget about that shit. I ain't gonna talk about petty shit like that. Let's keep going.
This guy had a problem with the fact that in my own Discord, at one time, I was calling myself Cancerous. That was the name of my avatar in Discord. Now,
why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
To all of y'all bitch ass niggas out there, it's Lord Cancerous, not Cancerous. Alright? Let's keep going with this shit. It's a fucking picture, I swear to God.
Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
And in his server, he is known as Cancerous. Like, literally, that's his name on Discord is Cancerous. Anyway.
So I didn't want to spend too much time talking about this guy because I clearly stated my position on his content, but as you can see, after I made my video, all types of fuckery has ensued, so here we are.
and this guy seemed to have a real problem with that. Like, this bothered him to no end that I would call myself Cancerous. I find it hilarious that these people want to call me a community cancer, but when I call myself one, they get mad like I took some kind of special privilege away.
And that's kind of true. Like, you can insult somebody with something they call themselves. I mean, if you were to go off and say, what random insults out there? I mean, there's so many different insults one can take. It's not even really, like, you can't even really grasp one, man. But let's say you got a lot of haters on the internet and they try to, you know, talk shit about you and, you know, call you names and all of that. Make an essential image for you. Like, for example, oh, he's a hater, or oh, he's a, you know, what do you call it? He's a racist. He's a bigot. He's sexist, or this and that and the other. And they try to defame you, essentially, by calling you these things, or by giving you these, you know, titles or whatever. So by giving yourself that title, it's kind of like they have no more leverage over you. And that's actually a pretty smart move, in my opinion. But well, let's keep going with this video. I can tell that most of this video is going to just be NBA's videos playing and not Grim actually giving his assessment on anything that's playing from NBA's, videos. So let's keep going.
From them. I got a right to call myself whatever I want, last I checked. Maybe he was mad because he didn't get an opportunity to label me.
So the first thing I want to address is his blatant lying. The first clips are just one of the examples. David claims I have a massive problem with the fact that he called himself cancer.
And the fact that you're going on calling him David just proves it's the utter disrespect, bro. I mean, if NBA was to make a fucking response video to you, he wouldn't be calling you by your real name. It just proves how much of a bitch you and ours are, because we know the only reason why you have this sort of information anyway is simply because either you looked this up on the internet or ours shared this to you because he just loves doxing people. But don't forget, guys, I am going to make a separate video on ours later today, so once this actually uploads on YouTube, you can expect that little video. Apparently, this loser tried to dox Kita lately, and I'm like, really? What the fuck did she do to you? Anyway, let's keep going.
Cancerous, and states it's because I had lost the initiative to label him, when in reality I merely pointed out his username so people would know who was posting in the screenshots I took. The only label I gave him was that of a racist. Would you like to know what the
Also, NBA gets that a lot too, but I'm going to debunk that the further we go into this video.
definition of racism is? Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. Or the belief that all members of each race possess characteristics or abilities specific to that race, especially as so to distinguish them as inferior or superior to another race or races. He displays this in several ways. The first is by attacking the YouTube anime community by stating it is mostly made up of white people.
Which is rather true. I mean, if you've looked around the anime community, it's more of like a ratio of 80 to 20. 20% being the black YouTubers and the 80% being the white. It's an undeniable statement. It doesn't have anything to do with racism, just by, statistics overall. Like, you're trying to apply statistics to racism to gain some sort of leverage in your argument against NBA. Like, are you fucking serious? Like, just go all across YouTube and look at all of the individual big anime YouTubers such as For Never Trash, Double Four Faggot, Chibi reviews, or should I call Patreon reviews, and all these other YouTubers. King of Lightning is an anomaly when it comes to the black people within the anime community. I mean, he does have a pretty substantial amount of subscribers, but he's the only one of his kind, and when it comes to the bigger anime reviewers, he's not that big compared to a lot of the other guys, you know what I'm saying? There's Mazaku, but he's been out of it for quite lately, man. Like, he's been off of his game, for a long time. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about him later on. But yeah, let's keep going.
To this white anime community, because let's make no mistake about it, most of the content creators in this community are.
Oh, and if you're going to try to use the definition, obviously you cannot use a definition, at least within the term of racism, that NBA is saying that there are only, white people in the anime community, or mostly white people in the anime community, because he feels that his race is superior. No, he's only stating from a standpoint of his race being the essential inferior, at least within the overall, people within this community. Also, on the other hand, that each race is supposed to have their own trait. Now, stating a statistic is not saying that, we all have our own traits as races, so I don't really get where that correlates to any part of his argument so far, but let's keep going.
White.
So here he is using the color of somebody's skin by which to judge the audience. He also states he's disliked because he's dark-skinned, comparing himself to a field Negro, and the current state of the anime community to slavery.
And the reason why I call it racist is because it's just like it was back in Jim Crow. It's just like it was back in slavery times. The white massa had a certain type of Negro he liked. That's why you had the field Negroes and the house Negroes. And then you even had the light-skinned Negro that the master sometimes had sex with. I guess I would be what you call a field Negro.
Now, NBA does have very valid points when it comes to this. There is a lot of racism within the anime community that other races or other colors of people, whether you consider them Caucasian, white, maybe darker skin, but not exactly black, are not given. Like, let's say, for example, if you're disliked within the anime community, and I've gotten this a lot when I was in the anime community. I've gotten this on this, just so many other, channels that I've created for specifically anime reviews or whatever, and somebody didn't agree with, what I said or, my point of view. They would go off calling me a nigger or you're black or you're this or you're that and the other. It's like, look, bro. Regardless of what you think, you have to accept the fact that this sort of stuff does exist within the anime community. You know what I'm saying? And truthfully, when it comes to just giving your opinion and just stating your point of view, we're not really given as much of a chance at it as anybody else. I mean, because of just who we are, we're given sort of a stigma. And because of that stigma, it just makes it so easy for people to just lash out these sort of insults at us whenever we say something they don't agree with. And I'm not going to go off and say, oh, everyone's a racist or the entire anime community is racist. It's not. But it does have these racial biases, and you're just going to have to accept that fact. And I think that's what NBA is trying to say in a nutshell. So let's keep going.
In the same video, he points out who he perceives to be some popular African-American anime YouTubers and likens their mannerisms to that of white folks, or the white slave owners, which he believes is indicative of a type of favoritism or nepotism, stating he's not as popular as they are because he's dark-skinned or may not display similar mannerisms or vernacular to that of a white or light-skinned human being.
But on this channel, those non-threatening black guys, their channels grow exponentially. Mine doesn't. And I believe it's because the anime community has preconditioned itself to only like a certain type of black dude. And then they'll go to the channel of one of these black dudes who acts like them, and they'll cheerlead their content. People like King of Lightning and Heavenly Controller. I mean, look at how they talk and look at how they act.
I also agree with this. Now, even though I wouldn't completely just go off and say that it's just tending to white people, but when you look at the community overall, when it comes to the black community within within the anime community, I wouldn't call it the black sector, but I would call it the black circle within the anime community. It's very small. And the more hood you act, for lack of a better term, the less views you'll get, because the less of a community you'll be able to actually reach out to. Now, what NBA is stating is, technically, these guys aren't just, shucking and jiving, but essentially changing their character to open up to a much wider community of people that would count as the majority of the anime community. They're trying to make themselves relate more towards these people. Now, whether or not it pertains to race is up to you, but it's all the fact that you're changing your character. And being who we are, it's even more self-offensive for us to change our character, because it's symbolic in a way. I mean, to have to tend to somebody else by changing who we are, changing how we act, it kind of goes back in history, and I don't think I really have to explain this that much. But if you think about it, man, it is kind of wrong. Not to the fact that it's just like morally wrong, like you're hurting everybody else around you. No, you're pretty much hurting yourself. You're hurting your own pride as a person, to the point that you actually have to change your everyday characteristics. Now, we know the way people like, Heavenly Controller or King of Lightning act on camera is not how they act in real life. I mean, yeah, in their videos, they'd occasionally say nigga and this and that and the other. They'd act like they would usually act in real life. They're like that in real life. It's like, oh yeah, what's going on, nigga? You know what I'm saying? What's going on, G? They're like that. But when they're on camera, they act differently, and that's just pretty much the point. They're trying to become more, I guess, relatable to the majority of the community rather than the minority. And that's pretty, how do I say, disrespecting to yourself because you're literally changing your character for that matter or for that reason, and that's where NBA is coming from. I completely agree with this, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty messed up to the point that you'd have to do something like that, and that you can't simply show your own personality, and you can't simply show who, you know, the fuck you are as a person without people, at least the majority, going off and penalizing you for it. You know what I'm saying? And NBA is a very good example of that. I mean, just look at his comment section and all the harassment that he gets even beyond his comment section. So it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
They put on the show, they put on their tap dancing shoes. The biggest ones are white. The ones with the most influence are white.
This is true.
Most of the subscriber bases are white. Sick and tired of people like Heavenly Controller being the representation.
And also, if you think about it, when it comes to black people, they wouldn't, most black people, when it comes to just the overall discussion of anime in general, aren't out there like a lot of, you know, the white YouTubers. They're not expressing their love for anime as heavily as the white YouTubers, which is obviously why our community is a bit, I guess, more of a minority than their majority, because we're not on that, you know, lolly or, you know, big tits, big ass, fucking anime girl type shit. Like, we, as the black circle of the anime community, we're not as heavily on that hentai shit, you know what I'm saying? And all the other cutesy type, you know, all that other, you know, disgusting shit like the, you know, white side of the anime community. I mean, given there are a few black YouTubers out there who are on that shit, like, for example, Heavenly Controller, and don't think I'm jabbing on Heavenly Controller, I ain't got no problem with the dude, but, you know what I'm saying, his content does go to those types of extents, and, well, it is what it is. I mean, shit. I think it's simply because we don't associate with that saturated view of anime as heavily as the other side does, and I think that becomes the main reason why we're not as big as that side, you know what I'm saying? But regardless, yo, a lot of the stuff NBA is saying is legitimate. I'm just pretty much translating it to make you guys understand what he's trying to say more and not just take his words out of context. So let's keep going.
Of what it means to be black in the anime community. I don't have no problem with the brother, except he acts like a fucking white boy. You have to be a certain type of black content creator in the anime community and on YouTube to grow.
Okay, I think you get the picture. He is literally differentiating quality based on someone's skin color himself, and that is racism. So to summarize, I have reinforced my position, and I am telling you that no, I did not in fact take issue with his username. As I expected in this guy's response videos, he never actually addressed the issues myself and many others have with his content, choosing instead to hurl playground insults, like these.
You know, these guys are pathetic. This guy is really pathetic. And
the only reason why he's hurling out insults like this towards you guys is simply because, and I'll put it in his words, y'all ain't worthy. I mean, I'm not even going to try to take the time out of my day to make a cover video on that little, you know, interview you had with ours, bro, because it's like, dude, we already know it's filled with flies, it's filled with bullshit, and it's not even worth watching at the end of the day. Because you know ours is going to try to come up with any white lie to essentially cover himself, but he's already been outed dozens of times by the League of Darkness and NBA. I mean, that 2-hour video that he's wasted an entire week editing has been debunked in less than 30 minutes by NBA. Like, how pathetic is that, bro? And yeah, I'm going to call you guys pathetic now, because you truly are. I don't even think I need to cover too much more of this video, because it's like, I've already just debunked you enough as it is. I mean, you take NBA's content, you make it the majority of your video, and not even giving so much of your assessment, but the video of NBA's video, or live stream videos in this video, that you made. Like, dude, I mean, that just proves that you don't have enough of an argument to give, simply for the fact that most of your entire video is surrounded by NBA's content rather than your own. But it is what it is, man. Let's see. Let me fast forward 30 seconds.
As a beat up.
More NBA content, more NBA content, more NBA content.
About it.
But I'm just saying, I think that he's pointing out empathy as being a negative thing, right? So he's saying that they're pathetic and they're empathetic, right? So empathetic is showing an ability.
What the fuck happened to his audio? Did he cut out or something? Like, were you so eager to send this shit out to YouTube that you actually forgot to, you know, space out different parts of it? I'm not even gonna fucking talk about that shit. That's just sad.
Pathetic.
More NBA content.
Pathetic and they're empathetic, right? So empathetic is
even a
showing
word.
an ability to understand and share the feelings of another.
Oh man, this guy is a super flake.
Dude, it's like this motherfucker's audio keeps going in and out repeatedly. What is this trash?
He didn't want people judging him based on the number of subs he had.
The whole reason I turned my shit off is because I got tired of people coming to my channel and judging my fucking channel based on a stupid number.
Grim, let me tell you a little something. That is something that most YouTube viewers use to judge another YouTuber. They base their legitimacy off of their number of subscribers. I mean, that's just a thing. How many views they get, what their ratings look like. And rather than judging the person individually, they judge pretty much their analytics, essentially. And NBA is trying to make an example of that by pretty much turning off his subscriber count, so you know people don't just fly over to his channel and say, oh, like you only have, you know, 2,000 subs, you're not even worth watching. Like I could have said, oh, Grim only has 35 subscribers, and his content's not worthy of looking at because of that reason. Well, I mean, just like NBA, me, and the rest of the league, we don't look at things in that sort of primitive way. So, you know, I mean, why else am I actually responding to your video at this point? You know, I could have said, oh, you only had 35 subs, like I'm out, blah, blah, blah. But I think what NBA was trying to say is that, look, bro, that's most of the YouTube community in general. Like, they judge things off of subscriber count, and that's just, it's just a pretty solid point right there. Like, they see somebody like Geekdom as more legitimate than somebody as, let's say, King of Lightning, because Geekdom has 400,000 extra subscribers than the King of Lightning. Or they look at somebody like Heavenly Controller as more legitimate than, let's say, I don't know, some other YouTuber, anime YouTuber that has 50,000 subscribers because he has over 300,000. You know what I'm saying? And some people would view a channel with 20,000 subscribers as more legitimate than, let's say, NBA's channel, because, you know, even though he has a big, you know, large band of channels, you know, he's still got a bit less than 20,000. So, I mean, that's just how it goes. That's just the nature of YouTube viewers. YouTube as a whole, essentially. It's not just the viewers, but, you know, between YouTuber and YouTuber. Even other YouTubers, judge other YouTubers based on the number of subscribers they have. It's not just the viewers judging, it's also the creators. So it's pretty much like that. Let's keep going.
He then proceeds to continually make fun of my subscriber count and views.
I got more views on that one video than his entire channel has.
Now, David, do I have to look up the definition of hypocrisy for you two?
Now, here's the point. NBA wasn't trying to belittle you by saying, oh, you have less subscribers and then blah, 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 than he does. I'm pretty sure what he was trying to do is essentially state, like, look, don't go off trying to act as if you're so big. Because it still stands that, look, bro, you aren't as... It doesn't even matter if you're not as popular on YouTube as the next guy. It's like, bro, don't be acting like you have all this leverage over somebody when you yourself have hardly built a fan base solid enough to really call yourself a YouTuber in the first place. And not the fact that you have less subscribers, but the fact that you're just hardly a YouTuber in general. You know what I'm saying? And you're not gonna go anywhere just steadily making videos on NBA. I mean, if you really want to make a solid channel that can go far, You know what I'm saying? Unless he just decided to make this channel for shits and giggles like I made the Smasher. But regardless, bro, it's like, it is what it is. You feel me? Let's keep going.
Or do you understand that word? Because it seems to me that you're doing exactly the same thing. You talk about hiding your sub count because you don't want to be made fun of your subscribers and view count, but because it's an arbitrary number, right? But then you turn around and do the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure that's hypocrisy.
So I'm gonna make a channel with 9 subscribers.
Now, this guy also stated in his video that I did this to spite him because I was kicked off his channel in Discord, which isn't even true. I was in his...
I mean, it's a nature with most ex-league members or just league haters overall. Why would you make a video about NBA? Obviously, beforehand you had a pretty healthy relationship with him. He kicked you out, something happened, or maybe you just disagreed with one of his overall points of views, and then, you know, tried to tell him you disagree, but in a very disrespectful way, and therefore being kicked out. One way or the other, you fucked up, and you got kicked out and blocked from this channel for, you know, like I said, one reason or the other. And now you've decided to make these fuck NBA videos, which I'm pretty sure ours had a really large say in you doing overall. Like, he sort of propped you up to do these videos, and hey, it is what it is. But like I said before, what NBA is trying to say is, don't try to make a channel simply to go at him. He's not basing your content, he's not basing the number of subscribers on your channel simply by your content. He's not judging a person that's not messing with him. He's not judging a person that's, you know, not going after him or even bothering him to begin with and just simply making their own content. No, he's judging somebody based on that person's overall incentive to make videos, and that's to try to get more subs and get more views and gain publicity by going after NBA, which just so happened to fail miserably. And he's using that against you for a really good reason. I mean, I would probably do the same myself. Like, you made this channel simply to get subs, but you haven't even come close to my level of subs. And it's all based on this incentive of you making your videos against me in the first place. And I think that's why NBA, you know, did what he did, and said what he said. But regardless, yo, you can call him what you want, but it's just pretty much him retaliating for the shit videos you made against him. I mean, it's not based on hypocrisy or anything of the matter, but let's keep going.
Discord for about 2 seconds, and I left when he posted his racist video. I would also like to point out in the video I referenced where he used all of Clothespin's content instead of his own, he stated that people played games on YouTube by calling people gay and accusing them of dick riding if they post a video calling somebody out.
Just because somebody called you out for tracing, you want to say they want your dick. This is the kind of games that people play on YouTube.
This came out of Master Armenia's mouth himself. This came out of Master's own fucking mouth. So if you're really going to try to get at NBA for what he said about what Master Armenia said, you know what, let's see what he has to say.
YouTube. You call somebody out and they immediately go straight to some gay shit.
And yet here he is doing the very same thing. I make a video calling him out and he accuses me of dick riding and trying to make my name off of him.
And so tired of these little guys trying to make a name for themselves by talking shit about me. Dude, you're a nobody.
I mean, those are two completely different things. I mean, the people going after Master are only telling the truth about him. And he's saying his words in defense from what he knows is right. That he is tracing and that he is essentially a fucking criminal. And that's the best comeback he actually has, which is a very poor comeback in of itself. NBA is trying to say, look, you're literally making videos. You've created an entire channel going after me, talking shit about me, and trying to, end quote, debunk my videos just to get some publicity. I mean, regardless whether it's publicity or just overall, you know, dislike towards NBA simply because of a fuck up that you've made that resulted in you being kicked out of a Discord or being blocked from a channel, either it's saltiness or just, you know, an overall goal to get views and subscribers, or it could very well be both. Regardless though, this has no correlation to what Master Media says towards his haters. So let's keep going.
Like, you honestly have 9 subs.
So I guess you can dish it out, but not take it, huh, David? David is also probably going to claim I doxed him because I'm sure he'll take issue with me calling him by his actual name, even though he says he doesn't have to hide. But I'm using his name so I won't be accused of labeling anyone. Please note, doxing is the practice of searching for and publishing private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. But I would like to point out all the information I found was in the public domain. Literally,
do you know why it was in the public domain to begin with? Because the original content was doxed. The reason why it's on Google and the reason why it's on the fucking internet is because people have previously doxed them and the content's just out there. And now if no one decided to make that bitch move and dox MBA, you probably would have never learned about his name to begin with. And you wouldn't have been using it like a bitch in order to try to, insult him in this video of yours. But hey, whatever.
Mad Black Atheist, and his name is right there in the search results in the public domain. I guess he can't lie.
Anyway, I'm done with this video, guys. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about this fool's video. And I'm not even going to try to cover that shit with him and ours. It's not worth it, because we already know it's filled with lies. It's filled with bullshit. Like, anything with ours in it is like, what do you expect? Anyway, guys, my name is The Smasher. And if you guys enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like. And if y'all want to subscribe, y'all ain't even gotta subscribe. This channel is just for shits and giggles. But like I said before, bro, hopefully y'all enjoy my shit. Make sure to smash them buttons. That's my motto. Make sure to smash them buttons. And that's pretty much it. I might make an ours video later today. It'll be a very short one, just covering the stream that NBA made yesterday about ours and his bitch move to Doxkita and all the other bullshit that he said. So I'll probably cover a lot of that shit and my overall take on the situation. Well, anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. My name is The Smasher. Peace out, niggas.